Man, coming off of this last week of work, I felt like it was really important to sit down and just reflect a little bit about how AI is becoming more and more normalized in our workplace. This is not news. None of you are shocked to hear that AI is prevalent in many different spaces, but it just felt like it was important to really hammer that home. I'm seeing it more and more in my day to day conversations and workflows. And I think it's important for us to realize that if you want to be successful going forward, you are going to have to start exposing yourself to these systems, getting familiar with how they work, play around with them, and hopefully become proficient. You're going to need these at your next jobs. This is especially true for people that are trying to change positions. They're trying to get into a new career. Not that it's not important for people that have a job today, but if you find yourself career swapping and you're saying, oh, I want to get into tech, I want to try out any number of job opportunities, you're going to need to expose yourself to these tools and learn how to use them. As a product manager, just this last week alone, I found many of my conversations involving, oh, I used Cursor to write up the requirements for this new feature, or I was pulling through old documentation to summarize what we would need on a new platform. I was using Cursor to analyze data that came in from Amplitude. Amplitude is a software that we use to look at our user metrics and understand how people are using our product. So between Cursor and Amplitude, I just heard these things coming up more and more. And this is also true for the development side. So we have our developers, back end and front end, that are using not only Cursor, but also Copilot in order to write a good chunk of code. There's a lot less just initial manual work that needs to go in. You can use natural language and speak to these systems, and they can help you put together at least the framework of a product, if not a pretty robust offering that you can just make small tweaks to afterwards. Now, yes, ideally you're going to be giving it more technical instructions, but if you don't have that, you don't need it. And I think it's pretty wild, and it's more necessary than ever for people to start getting exposed to these tools and getting exposed to these platforms. You are probably most familiar with seeing this with LLMs. When we think of LLMs, like large language models, you're thinking of ChatGPT, you're thinking of Claude, you're thinking of Gemini, maybe Perplexity. And I think at least some of these, they're actually getting out of what I would just consider like large language model, which is specifically training on text, text output, to something that's more like large multimodal models, so like LMM. These are platforms that have been trained using text, but also image and audio and video. You are going to be able to interact with these things, and you could ask for a graphical output of data that you feed it. Or you could just say, hey, give me a fun photo to use for a thumbnail in a YouTube video. You are probably seeing this already in your daily flows with ChatGPT. Like, yeah, it can give you text output, but it can also give you images. You can also do the same thing with, if you just wanted to get a summary of an article that you were reading, you give it some technical documentation and you want it to be just broken down into human digestible words. You could give it code and it can explain to you, what is this being used to do? How can you optimize it? Or maybe if you're writing your own code, what is broken? What's going wrong? And how can you troubleshoot it in a pretty easy fashion? You're going to see there are specific models. So I've had experience using Midjourney in the past. Now, this is really only for image output. I wouldn't use Midjourney to give me text to like write a report or an email. It's just going to be really good and really specifically focused at creating images. I've also used 11 Labs. If you haven't heard of 11 Labs, really cool platform that's been trained on a lot of audio input, and it is used for voice replication, so mimicry and duplication of people. So you could go in there, use an existing voice, or even upload one of your own, and then you could effectively just have you talking through a series of scripts that you never even have to sit in front of a microphone, get the lighting right, make sure that you're ready to read and start going through it. So there's a lot of different opportunities for people to use that. And this is just focused on one platform at a time. There are also aggregators that are out there, which are pulling from a variety of different sources. And instead of you having to decide, I just want to use Gemini, or I just want to use Claude, or just want to use ChatGPT, it will collect all of these services and then put them in one spot. And you have access to all of these APIs. And depending on the task you wanted to do, you could use all of them. OpenRouter is a great source for that. That's going to give you access to multiple tools like that at a time. Another one that I've had a lot of fun using is something called Higgsfield AI. Now, if you just go to higgsfield.ai, I believe is the website, what I'm using that for is getting access to a lot of different image generators as well as editors, and then video generators and editors. I don't want to have to sit there and decide, am I using Nano Banana Pro or Higgsfield or Sora or Kling or Veo? I can just say, hey, this is the thing that I want to create or edit. I want to put my face onto an actor, or I want to put these two people in a room discussing whatever topic it is, or I want to make a video where this person is driving in this type of car. I don't have to think about what is going to be the model that does this the best. I can just put a text input there, and it will use any of these many models to go and create an output. And they're getting really robust. They're getting really strong. At the time that I'm recording this, I think Higgsfield is even putting out a challenge for best video creation, and they're paying huge cash prizes for that. Obviously, this is driving engagement with their platform, but also the outputs that people are getting. You can really just see how far this is going. It's very impressive. I've often thought, and maybe you've thought this as well, where oh, it'd be cool. I had this thought, I had this dream, I had this idea. I would be really happy to see that into like a short form video or like a full length video if you wanted it to be. That would be fun. And that just used to be a daydream. It was fanciful. And now you can actually do that. I think that's pretty wild. And so that's maybe one of the things that I've been using the most recently. Something else that I'm getting a lot of utility out of, and I'm seeing more and more the value of this, is Notebook LM. So this is a platform by Google. Instead of using Google to search the internet, you can use a Google tool, and in this case, Notebook LM, to analyze information and documentation that you give it, and you're creating sort of a knowledge base there. So you can create a new notebook, and you can add in video files, charts, Excel docs, podcasts, audio waveforms, and just like notes that you've written down yourself. And then you can use all of that in your notebook. That becomes a new knowledge base. And then you can ask that to give you a video recap output, mind map, blog post, written text documentation. You can ask questions of that notebook and then get answers formed around the information that you've put in, versus having to go out and ping the whole internet and maybe pulling from a variety of sources that either you haven't deemed credible or you just don't find relevant to what you're trying to resolve or explore. That is really cool, and I've had a lot of fun exploring that. And I would recommend you do it as well. It's free. You can go in there and access this and just give it a collection of information about a topic or something you're looking to explore, and then see what you can pull out of it. It's really cool just to see the different outputs. Now, I'm going on about these different platforms that I have experience with, and I think things that you should try out as well. The message that I was really looking to convey today is that you should start getting educated about these things. You should start seeing, one, how can they apply to your professional life? Two, how can they apply to your personal life? And three, are you learning anything new as a result of reshaping this information that's coming out of it? It is objectively fun just to make funny images or just videos to send your friends, but it can be very impactful and very informative if you can actually use this to learn new things, shape your opinion about a topic, just seeing it through a different lens. It can be fun to just have a dialogue with one of these LLMs, just see if you can find a different outcome where you're like, oh, I hadn't considered it this way. So yeah, I just think it's super important to get educated in these things, partly as a reminder to myself. And it's not like I'm foreign to this. I see these things on a daily basis. I am talking to people about them, but now and again, there are times where I'm having to take a step back and say like, wow, this is really just becoming the norm. This is just becoming part of everyone's language. And you're just sort of expected that you have this, you're expected to have this proficiency around it. So, well, I'm not looking for a new job. I have also been reading things on LinkedIn, and people are saying, oh, as a PM, as a product manager, which is what I do, you didn't have to be more technical in the past. That was not an expectation. And now more and more, it is becoming an expectation where you need to use low code or no code AI tools to help accomplish your job. And so that can be wireframing or web design. It can be data analysis and presentation. It can be writing up educational docs. Any of these could be valuable to you in your next job. And so, yeah, I guess my call to action here is please, please, please get educated about using AI tools. Become an AI specialist unto yourself, even if it's just for personal exploration. There are many different ways that you can learn how to do this on the internet. And yeah, if you feel like you're going to learn best by watching a lot of YouTube videos, go for it. I'm the kind of person that likes a more structured educational format. I find it difficult if I'm just sort of told generally, hey, go learn about a topic, and there isn't a framework, there isn't a curriculum. That some people can do that. Some people thrive in that environment. I need more of that. I need maybe a little bit of guardrails just to say, hey, keep pointed in this direction. Here's some homework to do tonight. If you are interested in learning about these things, one, get your hands on these tools independently. Go out and start exploring them, see what you can come up with. But two, I've been a teacher at a platform called Careerist for over 3 years at this point. I strongly stand behind the products that they're putting out. I got into the field of quality assurance as a direct result of their program, and it's why I've been a teacher there for over 3 years. We at Careerist are now putting out a new specialization and certification called AI Specialist. There's an entire curriculum there. If you want to get exposure to a number of the latest AI platforms, putting together a final project that can be assessed by industry professionals, I think this is a great opportunity for a lot of people. I'm actually going to be going through our own course myself to see how much I can learn in the next month or so. I might put it here on the channel and just sort of document my process if people find that interesting. But I will also put a link to the program in the description of this video itself. If you're curious about that, please go ahead and visit. I believe I can give you a significant discount if you're using one of my access codes. I will also put a link to a course that I've put together. You have no pressure or obligation to buy this, but I also have put together instruction on the top 5 industries that I think people should be pursuing when they are looking to career swap, and especially if they want to get into the tech industry. So both of those will be below the video. If you seek value in those, then by all means, give me a thumbs up, give me a follow. I will try to be talking more about these things in the coming weeks and months. And like I said, if you think it would be interesting to see what it's like to go through this course, I could put together a series of videos about that as well. That's basically everything I wanted to talk about here today. It's been very front of mind for me for the last week, and I hope that just getting on my little soapbox, I'm not going to be the first person or the last person to tell you to start learning AI tools, learn how to use AI in your workplace and your professional life, because it can help. It can be really revolutionary if you're using it the right way. But maybe my voice is the one that gets to you and you decide that you want to do that. That would be pretty cool. That's it for today. I will see you in the next video. Okay, goodbye.